Hey there. Tonight we're going back, way back, to a time when warfare meant something completely different than what you've been taught. Picture this. You're standing in the Valley of Mexico, around the year 1450. The air smells of copal incense and wet earth after the rains. You're 15 years old, and tomorrow you go to war for the first time. But here's the twist that nobody tells you in history class. Your goal isn't to kill your enemy. In fact, if you kill them, you might be seen as a failure. Welcome, friend. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Before we begin this journey together, let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is in your corner of the world. Are you in bed already? Curled up under warm blankets? Good. That's exactly where you should be. This story isn't like the war movies you've seen. This is about something stranger, something more complex, and something that made perfect sense to the Aztecs, even though it sounds completely backwards to us now. So, dim the lights, get comfortable, pull those covers up a little higher, and let me tell you about the warrior who learned that the greatest victory wasn't death, but capture. Let's go back together. Close your eyes when you're ready. We're about to enter the Calmacac, the school where young Aztec warriors learned the art of war without killing. You wake before dawn in the Calmacac, the elite school carved into the volcanic stone at the edge of Tenochtitlan. The cold seeps through your thin cotton mat. Around you, other boys sleep, sons of nobles like yourself, all destined for the battlefield. The air tastes of smoke from last night's fire, and the ever-present incense burning in the courtyard temple. Your body aches from yesterday's training. There are bruises on your ribs where the wooden practice sword struck you. Through the doorway, you can see the first hints of dawn painting the peaks of the twin volcanoes, Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl, in shades of purple and gold. Your teacher, Tlacaello, a veteran warrior with 3 capture glyphs tattooed on his chest, will wake you all soon. You think about what he told you yesterday, words that confused you then and still puzzle you now. A dead enemy is worthless. A captured enemy is worth everything. It goes against every instinct. When someone tries to hurt you, you want to hurt them back. You want to end the threat. But that's not how Aztec warfare works, and today you'll begin to understand why. The morning star, Venus, hangs bright in the sky. Your people call it Tlahuizcalpantecutli, the Dawn Lord. Warriors pray to it. You wonder if you should pray too, but your stomach twists with something between fear and anticipation. Soon, everything changes. The drum sounds, a deep boom that reverberates through the stone walls and into your chest. Everyone jolts awake simultaneously, conditioned by months of this same wake-up call. You spring to your feet along with 20 other boys, all moving in practiced unison. Nobody speaks. That's the rule. Silence until morning prayers are complete. Your feet slap against cold stone as you file out into the courtyard, where the dawn has turned from purple to pink. Tlacaello stands before the altar, his scarred face illuminated by torchlight. He's wearing his warrior regalia, quilted cotton armor, and a feathered headdress that marks his rank. Behind him, the temple pyramid rises in steep steps toward the lightning sky. The priest is already there, making offerings of copal incense. The smoke curls upward, carrying prayers to Huitzilopochtli, the god of war and sun. Form ranks, Tlacaello commands. His voice is gravelly, worn from years of shouting battle cries. You and the others arrange yourselves in 3 rows of 7. Everyone stands at attention, backs straight, eyes forward. The mountain air bites at your skin, raising goosebumps. You can see your breath misting in front of your face. Somewhere in the city below, a dog barks. The lake that surrounds Tenochtitlan reflects the dawn like a mirror of copper. Today, Tlacaello announces, you learn about the true meaning of strength. Today, we discuss why our enemies must live. Tlacaello paces before your formation, his sandals scraping against stone. You've all been taught how to strike with the macahuitl, he says, referring to the wooden sword edged with obsidian blades. You've practiced killing blows on straw targets. You've learned where to cut to make a man bleed out quickly. He stops pacing and turns to face you all. Now forget all of that. A murmur ripples through the ranks. Forget it? You've spent years learning these techniques. Your hands bear scars from practicing with the sharp obsidian. Just last month, a boy named Chimali lost 2 fingers when he gripped his training weapon wrong. And now you're supposed to forget it? In 3 days, Tlacaelol continues, some of you will join your first flower war against Tlaxcala. Do you know what happens if you return with enemy corpses? He pauses, letting the question hang in the cold air. Nothing. You get nothing. No honor, no recognition, no advancement. A dead enemy is a wasted enemy. Your mind struggles to process this. Everything you've been taught about warfare comes from stories. Stories of glorious battles, of heroes who slaughtered their enemies by the dozens, of blood soaking the earth. But now your teacher is saying those stories are wrong, or at least incomplete. Our gods demand sacrifice, Tlacaelol says quietly. The sun will not rise without the gift of human hearts. The rains will not come, the crops will fail, our empire will crumble. And sacrifices must be willing warriors, captured in combat, not corpses dragged from the field. After the morning address, you're given a simple breakfast of maize porridge and a small piece of salt. The salt is a luxury. It reminds you that you're training to be a warrior of the noble class. Common soldiers don't get salt. You eat quickly, mechanically, your mind elsewhere. The other boys whisper among themselves, processing what Tlacaelol told them. Chimali, the boy who lost his fingers, sits beside you. My cousin went on a flower war last year, he says quietly. He captured 2 Tlaxcalan warriors. Now he's allowed to wear a decorated cloak, and he drinks octli at festivals. Octli, the sacred fermented drink that only warriors and priests can consume. The thought of it makes your mouth water, though you've never tasted it. But how do you capture someone who's trying to kill you? You ask. It's the question gnawing at you. In practice, you've learned to defend yourself, to parry, to strike fatal blows. But capturing someone alive, that requires a completely different set of skills. It requires not just defeating your enemy, but defeating them so thoroughly that you can bind their hands, control them, drag them back across the battlefield, while other warriors are still trying to kill you. Chimali shrugs. I guess we're about to find out. After breakfast, you're led to the training grounds on the northern edge of the school compound. Here the earth is packed hard from thousands of feet, stained brown with old blood from training accidents. Wooden practice weapons are arranged in rows, but today Tlacaelol also has ropes, cords, and padded clubs that look less lethal than your usual training swords. Pair off, Tlacaelol orders. You automatically turn to Chimali. You've been training partners for months now. You know his movements, his tells. When he's about to strike from the left, his right shoulder dips slightly. When he's tired, his guard drops on the high right side. This familiarity is intentional. Warriors often fight alongside the same companions for years. Tlacaelol walks through the pairs, adjusting stances, correcting positions. When he reaches you and Chimali, he stops. You, he says, pointing at you. You're fast. You rely on speed and quick strikes. That's good for killing, not as good for capturing. He hands you one of the padded clubs and a length of hemp rope. Today, you'll learn the hook and bind technique. He demonstrates on a volunteer. Another boy named Yaotl, who's built like a boulder, all compact muscle and stubborn determination. Tlacaelol moves with fluid grace despite his age and scars. He feints high, drawing Yaotl's guard up, then suddenly drops low, sweeping the boy's legs out from under him with the club. Before Yaotl can recover, Tlacaelol has looped the rope around his wrists and pulled tight. The entire sequence takes perhaps 3 heartbeats. The goal, Tlacaelel explains, as Yautl climbs back to his feet, rubbing his wrists, is to incapacitate without major injury. A warrior who bleeds out on the way back to Tenochtitlan is useless. A warrior with broken limbs cannot climb the temple steps. You need them alive, relatively whole, and mobile enough to walk. That's the challenge. For the next 3 hours, you and Chimali practice the hook and bind, over and over and over. Your arms burn, the rope chafes your palms raw. You miss the binding at least 20 times for every successful attempt. Chimali is patient, letting you practice on him, then switching roles so you defend while he attacks. The technique looks simple when Tlacaelel demonstrates it. In practice, it's devastatingly difficult. The problem is timing. You have to disable your opponent's ability to fight back, but you also have to avoid injuring them seriously. That means precise strikes to specific targets. Behind the knee to buckle the leg, the inside of the wrist to weaken grip, the side of the neck to stun without crushing the windpipe. And all of this while your opponent is actively trying to capture or kill you. "Too hard!" Tlacaelel shouts when your club strikes Chimali's knee with a sickening thwack. Chimali crumples, gasping. "He needs to walk, remember? Your gods won't accept a cripple." You help Chimali up, muttering apologies. He waves you off, limping slightly. By midday, when Tlacaelel finally calls a break, you can barely lift your arms. Your hands are bleeding from rope burn. Every muscle trembles with fatigue. But you've managed the technique successfully 3 times in a row. 3 out of hundreds of attempts, but it's progress. You collapse in the shade of a saber tree at the edge of the training ground. Someone brings water in clay cups. You gulp it down, tepid and tasting of earth, but it's the most delicious thing you've ever experienced in that moment. That afternoon, instead of more physical training, Tlacaelel gathers everyone in the covered instruction hall. It's cooler here, with walls open to catch any breeze. You sit on the stone floor, grateful for the rest. Your body still trembles from the morning's exertion. "Now we talk about why," Tlacaelel begins. He gestures to one of the older instructors to hang a painted codex on the wall, a long folded book made from bark paper, covered in pictographic writing. The images show warriors capturing enemies, temples, sacrificial rituals, and the sun itself. "Our world is the 5th world," Tlacaelel explains, touching the codex with a pointing stick. 4 worlds came before, and all were destroyed. This world, our world, will also end unless we feed the gods. The sun god Huitzilopochtli fights the darkness every night. He defeats the moon and stars every dawn. But this battle exhausts him. Without nourishment, he will weaken. The sun will fail to rise, and this 5th world will end in eternal darkness and earthquakes. You've heard this theology before, of course. Every child in Tenochtitlan knows the creation story. But Tlacaelel is connecting it to something concrete, to your training, to the rope burns on your hands, to the flower wars. "Human blood is sacred food," he continues, "but not just any blood. The gods are particular. They want the hearts of warriors, given willingly through capture in honorable combat. A warrior who dies in battle goes to the highest heaven. A warrior sacrificed on the temple goes to the same heaven. They become companions of the sun." "So you see," Tlacaelel says, "a flower war is not about territory. It's not about conquest. We already control more territory than any empire before us. The flower wars are sacred agreements between cities, arranged battles where both sides seek to capture worthy warriors for sacrifice. Tlaxcala is our enemy, yes, but they're also our partner in this divine duty. They capture our warriors to feed their gods. We capture theirs to feed ours. Everyone understands the rules. This makes your head spin. War with rules. Enemies who cooperate. It seems backwards, contradictory. But as Tlaxcala continues explaining, a strange logic emerges. Without the flower wars, the Aztecs would have to fight wars of annihilation against their neighbors. Real wars, where the goal is to kill everyone, burn cities, salt fields. That would eventually leave them with no enemies at all. And without enemies, where would the sacrificial victims come from? The flower wars keep the cosmic balance, Tlaxcala explains. Strong enemies make strong captives. Strong captives make powerful sacrifices. Powerful sacrifices keep the sun rising. This is why Tlaxcala has never been fully conquered, even though we have the strength to destroy them. We need them. They need us. The gods need both of us. An older student, a cattle, who has already participated in 2 flower wars, raises his hand. But teacher, what if a Tlaxcalan warrior refuses to be captured? What if he fights to the death? Tlaxcala smiles grimly. Then you let him die, and you find another opponent. You cannot force a warrior to surrender. That would dishonor both of you. The capture must be earned through superior skill, not desperation. As the sun begins its descent toward the western mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and red, you're released from instruction. Tomorrow will bring more training. In 3 days, some of you will march to war, but for now, you have a few hours of freedom. Some boys head to the ball court to play umavacalistli, the sacred ball game. Others go to the temescal, the sweat bath, to ease sore muscles. You climb to the roof of the Calmacac, a flat space where students sometimes sleep on hot nights. From here, you can see all of Tenochtitlan spread below. A city of white temples and straight causeways, built on islands in the middle of Lake Texcoco. Canoes dot the water like water striders. The great temple pyramid dominates the view, its twin shrines at the summit dedicated to Huitzilopochtli and Tlaloc, the rain god. Smoke rises from thousands of hearth fires. The smell of cooking maize and fish wafts up on the evening breeze. Somewhere, drums begin their evening rhythm, calling people to prayer. You can hear the city's constant hum, voices, footsteps, the splash of paddles, the bark of dogs, the cry of babies. 200,000 people live in this city, maybe more. All of them depending on you, and warriors like you, to keep the sun rising. The weight of it settles on your young shoulders. 3 days. In 3 days you might be dead, or you might be a celebrated warrior with your first capture. Or you might fail entirely, returning home without honor, having to wait months or years for another chance to prove yourself. Footsteps on the ladder. You turn to see Chimali climbing up, favoring his left leg where you struck it too hard during training. He carries 2 small portions of amaranth seed cakes, precious food, usually reserved for festivals, but sometimes given to students before important events. Peace offering, he says, handing you one. For nearly crippling me. He's grinning, so you know he's not truly angry. You accept the cake and bite into it. It's sweet, mixed with honey and flavored with vanilla. The taste explodes on your tongue, a sharp contrast to the bland maize porridge that usually comprises your meals. You both sit at the roof's edge, legs dangling over the side, eating in companionable silence. Finally, Chimali speaks. Are you afraid? You consider lying, saying no, claiming the fearlessness expected of warriors. But this is Chimali. You've trained together, bled together, grown up together in this school. Yes, you admit quietly. What if I can't do it? What if I'm too slow or too weak, or I panic? What if you're brilliant? Chimali counters. He's always been the optimistic one. What if you capture 2 warriors on your first try? What if you're the one who gets to wear the decorated cloak? What if I die? Chimali is quiet for a moment. Then you go to the sun's heaven. You become a companion of Huitzilopochtli. After 4 years, you return as a hummingbird. That's not a bad ending. He pauses. But I'd rather you didn't die. Who else would train with me? That night, sleep doesn't come easily. You lie on your mat, staring at the darkness, listening to the breathing of the other boys. Your mind keeps replaying the day's lessons. Hook and bind, disable, don't kill, capture for the gods. The logic makes sense, but it still feels unnatural. Every instinct screams to protect yourself by eliminating threats, not by carefully subduing them for later ritual death. You think about the Tlaxcalan warriors you'll face in 3 days. Do they lie awake like this too? Do they worry about failing, about dying, about disappointing their families and gods? Probably. They're human after all. Different city, different patron gods, but fundamentally the same. Boys turned into men through violence, all caught in the cosmic machinery that demands blood to keep the world turning. Eventually, exhaustion wins over anxiety. You drift into uneasy sleep, and you dream. In the dream, you're on a battlefield. The air smells of copper and fear. A Tlaxcalan warrior charges at you, his face painted in geometric patterns of red and yellow. You have your maquahuitl in hand, but when you swing, it transforms into the rope. The warrior laughs. You try to run, but your legs won't move. The sun overhead begins to dim, fading like a dying coal. You wake with a gasp. Full storm lightens the sky. That pre-sunrise glow that means you've slept through most of the night. Your heart pounds. It was just a dream. Just anxiety manifesting in sleep. But the image of the dying sun stays with you. The next 2 days blur together in an intense haze of training, instruction, and preparation. You practice the hook and bind until you can do it with your eyes closed. You learn the weak points of the human body. Not to kill, but to disable. Behind the knee, inside of the elbow, base of the neck, solar plexus. You learn to read body language, to anticipate movements, to see the split-second tells that indicate what your opponent will do next. Tlaxcalan brings in veteran warriors who've participated in dozens of flower wars. They share stories, techniques, warnings. One grizzled warrior named Tizok, who walks with a limp and is missing an ear, tells you about the chaos of actual battle. Training happens in controlled space, he says. Real combat is madness. People screaming. Dust everywhere. You can't see more than a few feet in any direction. Someone is always trying to kill you or capture you, and you're trying to find an opponent who looks worthy, but not too skilled. Strong, but not too strong. It's impossible to explain until you experience it. Another warrior, younger, with 3 capture glyphs tattooed on his chest, demonstrates field techniques for binding captives. You won't have time to do it properly during the fighting, he explains. Quick loop around the wrists, pull tight, move on. You secure them properly after the battle ends. Keep the rope attached to your belt so you don't lose your captive in the chaos. You also learn the rules of engagement. Don't capture boys too young. There's no honor in it. Don't capture elderly warriors. They're past their prime, unworthy for the gods. Look for warriors in their physical peak, those who've proven themselves in previous battles.
On the night before the Flower War, there's a ceremony. All students who will march tomorrow are brought to the Great Temple Pyramid as night falls. You climb the steep steps, 114 of them, your legs burning by the time you reach the summit. Up here, the wind is strong, carrying the smell of incense and old blood. The twin shrines of Huitzilopochtli and Tlaloc loom on either side. Between them, priests perform rituals over a stone altar darkened by countless sacrifices. You and 15 other young warriors kneel in a row. An older priest, his hair matted with dried blood, walks down the line. At each student, he stops, dips his finger in black face paint, and draws a line down the forehead, over the nose, to the chin. Marked by the war god, he intones. May Huitzilopochtli guide your hand. May you bring honor to your family, your city, and your gods. When he reaches you, his finger is cold against your skin. The paint smells of charcoal and copal. Up close, you can see his eyes are milky with age, possibly blind. But his movements are precise, practiced from decades of ritual. Do not fear death, he whispers, though you didn't speak. Fear only dishonor. After the painting, you're each given a small clay figure, a tiny warrior holding a shield and sword. You're supposed to keep it with you during the battle as a blessing. You tuck it into your belt, feeling the rough clay against your skin. Around you, the city spreads out like a constellation of torches and cookfires. The lake is black glass reflecting the stars. You barely sleep that night. When the drum sounds in the pre-dawn darkness, you're already awake. Today is the day. The Flower War. Your first real combat. You dress carefully. Quilted cotton armor that's been assigned to you for the battle. A simple wooden shield painted with your family's glyph. And your makua whittle, with the obsidian blades you've sharpened yourself. The rope is looped through your belt. Ready. The warriors gather in the main courtyard as the sky begins to lighten. Tlacaelel walks among you, checking armor, tightening straps, offering final words of advice. When he reaches you, he places a heavy hand on your shoulder. Remember, he says quietly, this is your purpose. This is why you were born. Not to die, not to kill, but to capture. To serve the gods through your strength and skill. Trust your training. The march to the battlefield takes most of the morning. You walk along one of the great causeways that connect Tenochtitlan to the mainland, then north, on a road that cuts through maize fields and small villages. The veterans sing war songs, their voices rising in rhythmic chants that seem to match the beating of your heart. The younger warriors, you included, are quiet, conserving energy, fighting nervousness. By midday, you reach the agreed-upon field, a flat expanse of land between two rivers, north of a village whose name you don't know. The Tlaxcalan warriors are already there, assembled on the opposite side of the field. They look just like you. Cotton armor, wooden shields, obsidian-edged swords. The only difference is their face paint and clan symbols. There's a ritual before the fighting begins. Representatives from both sides meet in the middle of the field. They're not negotiating. The Flower War has already been agreed upon. This is formality, a recognition that both sides understand what's about to happen and why. You watch as Tlacaelel and a Tlaxcalan commander speak briefly, then separate. Each returns to their side. Today we feed the gods, Tlacaelel shouts, his voice carrying across the assembled warriors. A roar goes up, part war cry, part prayer. The sound is overwhelming, primal. You add your voice to it, feeling the vibration in your chest. The Tlaxcalans answer with their own cry. The sound echoes off the distant hills, and then the drum sounds. A single booming note, the signal to begin. The battlefield erupts into chaos. Veterans charge forward first, their war cries splitting the air. You run with the other first-timers, trying to stay in formation as you've been trained, but the formation dissolves within seconds. Dust rises in clouds from hundreds of running feet. Someone crashes into you from the side. A fellow Aztec warrior who's been knocked off course. You barely keep your feet. The noise is deafening. Screaming, shouting. The crack of wooden swords on wooden shields. The thud of bodies colliding. You can't see more than a few feet through the dust. Figures emerge and disappear like ghosts. A Tlaxcalan warrior suddenly appears in front of you, his face painted in yellow and red geometric patterns. His teeth bared in effort or fear, or both. This is it, your first opponent. Your hands tighten on your macahuitl and shield. The Tlaxcalan warrior doesn't wait. He lunges forward, his macahuitl arcing toward your head. You raise your shield just in time. The impact jars your arm, sending shockwaves through your bones. He's strong, stronger than the boys you've practiced with. He's a real warrior, maybe 20 years old, with scars on his arms that speak of previous battles. You don't think. Your body responds with trained reflexes. You push back with your shield, creating space, and strike low with your own macahuitl. But you remember, don't kill. The strike is aimed at his thigh, meant to disable, not sever. He twists, and your blade catches only his armor, tearing the quilted cotton but not reaching flesh. He counters immediately. His blade sweeps toward your exposed side. You're too slow to get your shield around. The obsidian edge catches your left arm, opening a shallow cut from elbow to wrist. Pain flares, hot and immediate. Blood wells up, running down to drip from your fingers. But you don't have time to think about it. He's pressing the attack, driving you backward. Your feet tangle. You go down hard on your back, the breath knocked from your lungs. He's on you immediately, his knee on your chest, his weapon raised for a strike that will either capture or kill you. This is it. This is how you fail on your first battle. The thought flashes through your mind in the split second before his blade descends. But instead of striking, the Tlaxcalan warrior does something unexpected. He drops his macahuitl and grabs for a rope at his belt. He's not trying to kill you, he's trying to capture you. The realization hits you like cold water. You're about to become a sacrificial prisoner on your very first battle. No! The word explodes in your mind. No! You didn't train for 2 years to be captured immediately. You didn't climb the temple steps and receive the god's blessing to fail this quickly. Your left arm is injured and pinned, but your right hand still grips your macahuitl. You swing it up and around, not at the warrior, but at his rope, cutting through the hemp with your sharp obsidian blade. His eyes widen in surprise. That split second of distraction is all you need. You buck your hips violently, using a technique tlaquelel drilled into you for exactly this situation. The warrior's balance shifts. You twist, throwing him off. You roll away, scrambling to your feet, your injured arm screaming in protest. The warrior recovers quickly, lunging for his dropped macahuitl. You're faster. You kick it away, sending it skittering across the dusty ground. Now you're both standing, both armed. You with your macahuitl, him reaching for a backup knife at his belt. The tables have turned. You remember Tlaquelel's words. The moment of reversal is when you strike. You feint high, he raises his guard, and you drop low, sweeping his legs with the hook and bind technique you've practiced 1,000 times. He goes down. You're on him before he can recover, rope already in hand. Your hands shake as you pull the rope tight around the Tlaxcalan warrior's wrists. He struggles, but you have position and leverage. You pull harder. The rope bites into his flesh. He stops struggling, recognizing defeat. His eyes meet yours, not with hatred, but with something like respect, or maybe resignation. He knows what comes next. The temple, the sacrifice, the journey to the sun's heaven. You fought well, he says in heavily accented Nahuatl. You can understand him. Most warriors in the region speak the same language, though with different dialects. His face paint is smeared with sweat and dust, making the geometric patterns look like cracked pottery. You don't know what to say. You've just captured your first warrior. You've proven yourself. But this man, probably only a few years older than you, will die because of your skill. You should feel triumphant. Instead, you feel strangely hollow. But there's no time for philosophical reflection. The battle continues around you. You attach the rope to your belt as you were taught, and pull your captive to his feet. He doesn't resist. He could. He's bigger than you, but that would dishonor both of you. The capture is legitimate. He accepts it. An older Aztec warrior appears through the dust, Tizoc, the one with the missing ear who spoke to you during training. He takes in the scene instantly. "First capture!" he shouts over the noise of battle. You nod. He grins, teeth white in his dusty face. "Get him to the rear guard. Return for more if you can. The battle's not over." You begin pulling your captive toward the edge of the battlefield, away from the fighting. At the edge of the battlefield, away from the main fighting, a group of guards waits. These are older warriors, past their prime for active combat, but still strong enough to control prisoners. They take custody of your captive, binding his legs as well so he can't run, then adding him to a growing line of captured warriors sitting on the ground. Some look defiant, some look resigned. One is weeping quietly. You're about to return to the fighting when one of the guards stops you. "Ahem. Your arm," he says, pointing. You look down. The cut is deeper than you realized, and you've lost more blood than you thought. The ground at your feet is spotted with red drops. You feel suddenly dizzy, though whether from blood loss or adrenaline crash, you can't tell. The guard leads you to a medical area, just a shaded spot under a tree where a healer works. She's an older woman, her grey hair bound back, her hands stained with herbs and blood. She takes one look at your arm and clicks her tongue disapprovingly. "Sit," she commands. You sit. She cleans the wound with water, then packs it with a mixture of spiderwebs and herbs. You've seen this before. The spider silk helps the blood clot. The herbs prevent infection. It stings terribly, and you have to clench your teeth to keep from crying out. She wraps the whole thing in clean cotton bandaging, then ties it off. "Don't use this arm for the rest of the day," she orders. "The wound will reopen." You nod, but you're already calculating. Can you fight with one arm? Can you capture another warrior and increase your glory? The healer is still working on another wounded warrior when Chimali appears, also blooded but grinning broadly. He has a captive, a Tlaxcalan warrior who looks even younger than you, maybe 13 or 14. Too young, really, but in the chaos of battle, these things happen. The guards accept the prisoner with some skepticism, but don't reject him. Rules are sometimes bent when the fighting is thick. "You got one too," Chimali exclaims when he sees you. His face is split by cuts from flying debris, and he's limping, but his eyes shine with triumph. "Did you see? I used the hook and bind exactly like Tlacaelel showed us. It actually worked." You manage a weak smile. You're feeling better now that the initial shock is fading, but you're also exhausted. Every muscle aches. Your arm throbs in time with your heartbeat. "I got one," you confirm. "Barely. He almost captured me first." "But he didn't," Chimali insists. "That's what matters. We're real warriors now. We have captures. We'll get the decorated cloaks. We can drink octli at the festivals." His enthusiasm is infectious, pulling you out of your hollow feeling. Maybe he's right. Maybe you should feel proud. The battle sounds are fading. The agreed-upon time is nearly over. Flower wars typically last a few hours, no more. Any longer and the casualty rate becomes too high. Defeats the purpose of the sacred combat. Soon, the drums will sound the end, and both sides will separate, count their prisoners, honor their dead. A commander appears, walking through the wounded and the guards. "First captures?" he asks you and Chimali. You both nod. He touches each of your shoulders. "You've fed the gods today. The sun will rise tomorrow because of your strength." The drums sound, a different rhythm than the battle start. This is the signal to withdraw. On the battlefield, warriors disengage according to unspoken rules. You don't strike an opponent who's retreating. You don't pursue beyond the agreed boundaries. The Flower War is over. Both sides have what they came for, captive warriors to feed their gods. The Tlaxcalan forces withdraw in ordered ranks, carrying their wounded and dead. The Aztecs do the same. You struggle to your feet, swaying slightly. Chimali grabs your good arm, steadying you. Together you walk back onto the now clearing battlefield to help collect the wounded and honor the dead. The ground is churned up, blood-soaked in places, littered with broken weapons and torn armor. Some warriors lie still, beyond help. Others crawl or lie moaning with injuries. You help carry a man whose leg is badly broken, 2 of you supporting him between you as he grits his teeth against the pain. His name is Nopal, you learn. He captured 2 warriors before a Tlaxcalan blade shattered his shin. He'll never fight again, but he goes home with glory. The count is taken. The Aztecs captured 12 warriors. The Tlaxcalans captured 8. 20 men total, who will climb temple steps in the coming days. By the standards of a flower war, it's a successful exchange. The gods will be fed. The sun will continue its journey. Both cities have fulfilled their cosmic duty. Your captive is brought forward with the others. He looks at you as he's loaded onto a carrying platform. That same expression. Respect, mixed with resignation. He nods to you. You nod back. Tomorrow, you'll begin preparing for his death. But today you've both played your roles in the eternal game that keeps the world turning. The march back to Tenochtitlan takes longer than the march out. Many warriors are wounded. The 12 captives must be carried on platforms. They're valuable, can't be allowed to injure themselves or escape. The sun is setting by the time you cross the causeway onto the island city. People line the route, cheering. Children throw flowers. Women ululate victory cries. But you barely notice. You're focused on putting one foot in front of the other. Your injured arm pulses with pain despite the herbs. Your ankle has swollen, definitely twisted during the combat. You're so thirsty your tongue feels like leather. When someone hands you a cup of water, gulping, you drain it in seconds. At the Calmecac, Tlaxcalan meets the returning students. Of the 16 who marched out, 14 return. 2 died on the battlefield, struck by unlucky blows that hit vulnerable spots between armor. Their bodies are being carried to their families for proper funeral rites. The survivors are battered, bloody, but alive. Tlaxcalan counts the captures. You and Chimali, plus 3 other students, secured prisoners. The rest fought well, but failed to capture anyone. That's normal, he assures everyone. First battles are chaotic. Just surviving is an accomplishment. Those who didn't capture this time will have other chances, but you captured 1. That means recognition. That means advancement. That means you've proven yourself worthy in the eyes of the gods and your city. Tomorrow there will be a ceremony. Tonight there's food. Real food, not just maize porridge. And rest. You eat mechanically, barely tasting the turkey and beans and tamales. Your body needs fuel, so you eat. But your mind is elsewhere, replaying the day, the dust, the noise, the Tlaxcalan warrior's eyes, the blood, the fear, the triumph. All of it swirls together in a confusing mix. That night, sleep comes easily, despite your racing thoughts. Your body simply shuts down, overwhelmed by exhaustion, pain, and the emotional toll of your first battle. You dream again, confused fragments. The Tlaxcalan warrior, the temple, climbing steps that never end, the sun growing dim. You wake several times, disoriented, before falling back into restless sleep. In the morning, you can barely move. Every muscle has stiffened overnight. Your bandaged arm is swollen, throbbing. Your twisted ankle has ballooned to twice its normal size. Even breathing hurts. You must have bruised ribs you didn't notice during the fighting. Chimali is in similar condition, as he tries to sit up on his sleeping mat. But today is important. Today is the ceremony where you're recognized for your first capture. You force yourself up, with effort. The healer comes to check your wounds. She removes the bandaging from your arm, examines the cut, nods with satisfaction. "Healing well," she says. "No infection. You were lucky. The obsidian made a clean cut." She applies fresh herbs and rebandages it. Your ankle, however, is problematic. She wraps it tightly, giving you a walking stick. "Stay off it as much as possible for 3 days," she orders. The ceremony takes place in the main courtyard at midday. All the students and instructors gather. The 5 of you who made captures stand in a line facing the assembly. Tlacaelel speaks about courage, skill, and sacred duty. Then, one by one, he calls you forward. When it's your turn, your heart pounds. You hobble forward on your walking stick, trying to maintain dignity despite the limp. Tlacaelel places a decorated cloak around your shoulders. Cotton dyed in deep red with black geometric patterns woven into it. It's beautiful, far finer than anything you've ever worn. This cloak marks you as a warrior with a capture, raising your status above the common students. You can now drink octli at festivals. You can speak in certain councils. You have voice and weight in the warrior society. You captured a warrior of Tlaxcala in your first battle, Tlacaelel announces to the assembly. You proved your skill and your devotion to the gods. You have fed Huitzilopochtli with worthy sacrifice. The sun rises because of you. He pauses. But do not grow proud. One capture is just the beginning. The greatest warriors have dozens. Some have hundreds. Continue training. Continue proving yourself. The gods are always hungry. You return to the line, the decorated cloak heavy on your shoulders. Chimali is next, receiving his own cloak to scattered applause. The other 3 receive theirs as well. Then the 5 of you face the assembly together, while drums beat and voices rise in a traditional warrior song, an ancient melody about the first warriors who fed the gods, who kept the sun alive, who saved the world from eternal darkness. After the ceremony, there's a feast. Real meat, venison and turkey, and even a small amount of pork. Fresh fruit and honey. Cacao drinks, rich and bitter and sacred. And for the first time in your life, octli, the fermented agave drink that warriors earn. Tlacaelel pours it himself into a clay cup, handing it to you ceremonially. You raise it, reciting the prayer you've memorized. I drink to honor the gods. I drink to honor my capture. I drink to the eternal sun. Then you sip. It's bitter and strong, burning your throat. But it's also intoxicating, warming your stomach, making your head light. You understand why this drink is sacred, reserved for those who've proven themselves.
The days following the ceremony pass in a strange rhythm. Your body heals slowly, the arm mends, the ankle strengthens, the bruises fade from purple to yellow to gone. You return to training, though at a gentler pace while you recover. But something has changed inside you. You've seen combat now. You've faced death, both dealing it and nearly receiving it. The training exercises feel different now. You understand their purpose on a visceral level. You're also treated differently. The other students who haven't captured yet look at you with a mix of envy and respect. The instructors nod to you as an equal rather than a pupil. You're invited to sit in on councils where strategy is discussed, where the veterans plan the next flower war. Your opinion is sought. What did you observe about Tlaxcalan tactics? What techniques worked for you? But you're also troubled. At night, when you close your eyes, you see the Tlaxcalan warrior, the one you captured. You wonder if he's dead yet,
The sacrifice probably happened within a day or two of his capture. Did he climb the temple steps willingly? Did he sing the death song as tradition demands? Did the obsidian blade find his heart cleanly, or did he suffer? Chimali notices your mood darkening. What's wrong? He asks one evening, as you both sit on the roof again, watching the sun set over the lake. We succeeded. We're recognized warriors now. Why do you look so miserable? You struggle to put it into words. I killed a man, you finally say. Not directly, but I captured him, and that's the same thing. He's dead because of me. Chimali is quiet for a long moment. Then he says, he chose to be a warrior, just like we did. He knew the risks. He knew the purpose. Maybe it's not about killing or dying. Maybe it's about the gods, about keeping the world alive. You want to believe that. You want the cosmic justification to make the personal reality easier to bear. But the Tlaxcalan warrior's face won't leave your mind. The respect in his eyes, the nod he gave you. Tlacaelel says this gets easier, Chimali continues. After the second capture, the third, the fourth, you stop thinking about them as individuals. They become offerings, fuel for the sun. It's not cruel, it's necessary, but you're not sure you want it to get easier. If killing becomes routine, if sacrifice becomes normal, what does that make you? Not a monster, perhaps. This is your culture, your duty, your religion, but it troubles you nonetheless. The next morning, Tlacaelel summons you privately to his quarters. He pours water for both of you from a clay pitcher. I hear you're struggling, he says without preamble. Warriors don't waste words on pleasantries. With your first capture, you don't ask how he knows. Veterans understand. They've all been through it. Yes, teacher, you admit. I understand the theology. I understand the necessity. But understanding and accepting are different. Tlacaelel nods slowly. Good, he says, surprising you. If you felt nothing, I'd worry. Only sociopaths kill without reflection. You're human. You have empathy. That's not weakness. That's what makes the sacrifice meaningful. The gods don't want cold-blooded murderers. They want warriors who understand the weight of what they do.
I'll tell you something they don't teach in the general instruction, Tlacaelel continues. The Empire needs the Flower Wars for 2 reasons. Yes, we need sacrifices for the gods. That's real. That matters. But we also need the Flower Wars for a more practical reason. We need them to control our own warriors. You frown, confused. Control them how? Think about it. We have the strongest military in the region. We could conquer everyone within a month's march. But then what? A massive army with no enemies, no battles, no glory to win. What do idle warriors do? They get restless. They fight each other. They question authority. They become a threat to stability. He sips his water. The Flower Wars give them purpose, outlet, structure, and they produce captives for sacrifice without devastating regional stability. It's practical theology. This perspective shifts something in your understanding. The grand cosmic machinery, the sun god, the sacrifices, the sacred combat, has a mundane political dimension too. It's not less meaningful because it's also practical, but it adds a layer of complexity you hadn't considered. So you're saying the gods and politics are the same thing? I'm saying nothing is simple, Tlacaelel responds. The theology is real. I felt the presence of Huitzilopochtli in battle. The political necessity is also real. Both can be true at once. Life is complicated, and anyone who offers you simple answers is either a fool or a liar. He stands, indicating the conversation is over. Keep training. Keep thinking. You'll participate in another Flower War in 2 months. Capture again, and you'll advance further. Fail to capture for 3 battles in a row, and you'll be assigned to different duties. That's how the system works. Now go. You have drills this afternoon. 2 months pass. Your body fully heals.
your training intensifies. You learn more advanced techniques. Not just capture, but combat strategy, unit tactics, recognition of terrain advantages. You learn to read the flow of battle, to spot opportunities and dangers. You practice with different weapons. The atlatl spear thrower, the bow, the sling. Though the maquahuitl remains your primary weapon, versatility is valued. You also learn about command structure, supply lines, and logistics. Warriors don't just fight. They plan campaigns, manage resources, coordinate movements. The higher your rank, the more you need to understand strategy beyond personal combat. Tlacaelel is grooming you and the other promising students for leadership roles. The Second Flower War arrives. Same location, same opponent, Tlaxcala. This is tradition. Regular scheduled conflicts keep both sides sharp, both populations supplied with sacrificial victims. You march out with more confidence than last time, but also with more respect for the danger. You've seen what combat really means now. This time, when the drum sounds and the battle begins, you're not overwhelmed by chaos. You're part of the chaos, moving through it with purpose. You pick your targets more carefully, looking for opponents who seem strong but not overwhelming, warriors who will make worthy captures without being impossible to subdue. You engage 3 different Tlaxcalan warriors throughout the afternoon. The first escapes when another Aztec warrior intervenes, accidentally blocking your finishing capture. The second nearly captures you. You barely fight him off. But the third, you capture successfully. A clean fight, a good bind, a worthy prisoner for the gods.
That night, back at the Kamakak, you don't feel the same hollow emptiness you felt after your first capture. Tlacaelel was right. It does get easier, not because you care less, but because you understand more. The captured warrior, you don't even know his name, will serve the gods. The sun will rise tomorrow because of warriors like him. It's not personal, it's cosmic duty. Or maybe you're just getting numb to it. It's hard to tell the difference between wisdom and desensitization. Chimali captured 2 warriors this time, bringing his total to 3. He's advancing faster than you. Some students captured none again. One boy, Yaotl, the stocky one who Tlacaelel demonstrated on months ago, has now participated in 3 flower wars without a single capture. His time is running out. One more failure and he'll be reassigned to other duties. He sits alone at dinner, staring at his food, shame and fear written across his face. You want to comfort him, but what can you say? The system is what it is. Not everyone can be a capture warrior. Some excel at other roles, logistics, training, temple guardianship. But Yaotl wanted glory. He wanted the decorated cloak, the honors, the status. Now he's watching it slip away. After dinner, you find him on the roof, your usual thinking spot. He's sitting with his knees drawn up, staring out at the city lights. Mind if I sit? You ask. He shrugs, which you take as permission. For a while, you sit in companionable silence, watching Tenochtitlan's evening rhythms. I'm not fast enough, Yaotl finally says, or skilled enough. I can fight. I hold my own in training. But capturing is different. It requires that extra edge I don't have. You're right, you tell him honestly. Capturing is different than fighting. It requires speed, timing, and a kind of calculated aggression that some people have naturally and others have to work harder to develop. You pause, but that doesn't mean you're a failure. The Empire needs more than capture warriors. But capture warriors get the glory, Yaotl says bitterly. They get the cloaks, the status, the honors. Everyone else is just support. You can't argue with that. It's true. The culture celebrates capture warriors above all others. But you try anyway. My father, you say slowly, you rarely talk about your family, is a scribe. He records the tribute from conquered cities, manages the imperial accountants, tracks resources. He's never fought a battle in his life, but the empire would collapse without people like him. Tlacaelel told me, nothing is simple. Glory is one thing, necessary work is another.
Both matter. Yaotl is quiet, considering. Then, what will they assign me to if I fail the next battle? I don't know, you admit. Temple guard maybe, or trainer for younger students, or supply management, or messenger corps. That's actually prestigious, requires strength and endurance. There are options. He nods slowly. You can tell he's not fully comforted, but at least he's thinking rather than despairing. After a while, he stands. Thanks, he says awkwardly, for not just spouting empty encouragement. You watch him climb down the ladder, then sit alone with your thoughts. The city pulses below, 200,000 lives, all caught up in this grand machinery of religion and empire. You're a tiny part of it. Your 2 captures have fed the gods, kept the sun rising, but they've also transformed you, hardened you, made you into something different than you were.
Months turn into a year. You participate in 6 more flower wars, capturing warriors in 4 of them. Your total stands at 6 captures, a respectable number for someone your age. Your decorated cloak now bears 6 glyphs. You're invited to more councils, given more responsibilities. You train the younger students sometimes, passing along the techniques that Tlacelel taught you. Chimali has risen even faster. 10 captures, a more elaborate cloak, recognition as one of the most promising warriors of your generation. You're happy for him, not jealous. You've learned that competition between warriors can be healthy, pushing each other to improve without becoming enemies. Yaotl failed to capture in his 4th battle and was reassigned to the messenger corps, just as you predicted. You've seen him occasionally, running messages between cities. He seems content enough. The work is demanding, requires incredible endurance and courage of a different kind. Not the glory he wanted, but honorable work nonetheless. Your relationship with warfare has evolved. You no longer feel that initial hollow emptiness after captures. Tlacelel was right. It's become normalized, understood as duty rather than personal action. But you also haven't become callous. You still recognize the captured warriors as people, still give them the respect their sacrifice deserves. It's a balance, understanding the cosmic necessity while maintaining your humanity. One evening, Tlacelel summons you to his quarters again. You've been called there several times over the past year for various discussions, so you're not nervous. But when you enter, you notice something different. He's not alone. An older man sits with him, elaborately dressed, wearing the regalia of high nobility, possibly even a member of the royal council. This is Tlacopan. Tlacelel introduces the nobleman. He serves on the Council of Military Appointments. Your heart rate increases slightly. This could mean many things: promotion, special assignment, or possibly even trouble of some kind, though you can't think of any infractions you've committed. Tlacopan studies you with sharp eyes. 6 captures in a year, he says. Impressive for someone so young. Tlacelel speaks highly of your skills and your character. He pauses. We're organizing an expedition, not a flower war, something different. The city-state of Azcapotzalco has been raiding our tribute caravans, disrupting trade. The emperor has decided they need to be reminded of their obligations. This will be a punitive campaign, fast, focused, limited objective. We're not conquering territory, just teaching a lesson. Your mind races. This is different from flower wars. This is real war, where the objective is intimidation and punishment rather than capture for sacrifice. The rules will be different. The violence will be different. You want me to participate? You ask carefully. We want you to lead a squad, Tlacopan corrects. 10 warriors under your command. You'll be part of a larger force, obviously, but you'll have tactical independence within your assigned area. It's a test. If you perform well, greater commands await. If you fail, he shrugs. Well, opportunities like this don't come often. This is huge. At 17, most warriors are still proving themselves in flower wars. To be given command, even of a small squad, in a real military operation, it's a massive leap in responsibility and status. But it's also dangerous. Not just the physical danger of combat, but the danger of failure, of making mistakes that get your men killed, or the mission compromised. I accept, you say. because what else can you say? This opportunity is too significant to decline, regardless of the risks. When do we march? 3 days, Tlacopan replies. You'll meet with your squad tomorrow. I've selected warriors I think will work well together. Some are your age, some older and more experienced. Your job is to mold them into an effective unit quickly. Tlacaelel will be with the expedition as an advisor, but he won't command. This is your test. After Tlacopan leaves, Tlacaelel pours Octli for both of you. You've shared drinks with him several times now. The relationship has evolved from teacher-student to something more like mentor-colleague. Nervous? He asks. Terrified, you admit honestly. What if I make a mistake? What if I get someone killed? You probably will, Tlacaelel says. Make mistakes, I mean. And yes, in combat, mistakes get people killed. That's why leadership is harder than individual fighting. When you fight alone, you only risk yourself. As a commander, you're responsible for others' lives. He sips his Octli. But I recommended you for a reason. You think before you act. You learn from experience. You care about the warriors under your command. Those qualities matter more than being the fastest or strongest fighter. You spend that night and the next day preparing. You meet your squad. 10 warriors, most around your age, though 2 are older veterans who will serve as your second and third in command. You drill together, learning each other's fighting styles, strengths, weaknesses. You discuss tactics, scenarios, contingencies. You're trying to compress weeks of unit training into hours. Chimali is part of your squad, which is both comforting and challenging. He's your friend, but also the warrior with more captures than you. Can you command him effectively? Will he resent taking orders from someone who was his equal days ago? The expedition marches at dawn on the 3rd day. Your squad is part of a force of 200 warriors, a significant show of strength, but not an army of conquest. The message is clear. Comply with tribute obligations or face consequences. The march takes 2 days. You reach the outskirts of Azcapotzalco at sunset on the 2nd day. The battle plan is explained to all squad leaders. Simultaneous strikes on 3 different targets within the city: the main market, the tribute storage warehouse, and the council hall. Your squad is assigned to the warehouse. The objective is to seize control, hold it for 2 hours while the main force searches and confiscates goods, then withdraw. You're not to massacre civilians or burn unnecessarily. This is intimidation, not annihilation. Just before dawn, your squad moves into position. The streets are empty, quiet. Azcapotzalco doesn't expect an attack. You signal your warriors into formation. Chimali takes point with 2 others. You position yourself in the center, where you can direct the action. The veterans anchor the rear, providing stability and experience. The warehouse guards, only 4 of them, are caught completely by surprise. 2 surrender immediately. 2 try to fight and are quickly subdued. No deaths on either side. So far, so good. Your squad secures the building, positioning warriors at key points. The main force arrives and begins the confiscation, counting stores, loading tribute onto carrying platforms, documenting everything for the imperial records. Then, you hear shouting from outside. Azcapotzalco's warriors are responding faster than expected. Your quiet mission is about to become a fight. The next hour is chaos. Azcapotzalco warriors attempt to retake the warehouse. Your squad holds them off. You've got superior position and defensive advantage, but they keep coming, wave after wave. You direct your warriors, calling out threats, rotating positions so no one becomes exhausted. Chimali distinguishes himself,
holding a critical doorway against repeated assaults. The veterans provide steady support, their experience invaluable. You take a spear wound to your thigh, not deep, but painful and bleeding. You can't show weakness, so you tie it off and keep commanding. An arrow grazes your left arm, your old scar from that first flower war. Always the left arm, you think absurdly. Another scar to add to the collection. Finally, the confiscation is complete. The signal comes. Time to withdraw. This is the most dangerous part. You have to disengage while under attack, maintain unit cohesion, get everyone out alive. You call the retreat in stages. The rear guard first, then the middle positions, finally the front line. You're the last to leave, making sure everyone is out before you abandon your position. The withdrawal is conducted in good order. You link up with the main force. Azcapotzalco warriors don't pursue beyond the city limits. They've made their show of resistance, but aren't foolish enough to follow into open terrain where they'd be at disadvantage. By midday, you're clear, marching back toward Tenochtitlan with the confiscated tribute. You did it. Your first command, and you succeeded. Everyone in your squad survived, though several are wounded. The mission objectives were met. Tlacaelel nods approvingly when he passes your position in the march. Tlacopan will receive a favorable report. That night, camped halfway home, you sit with your squad around a fire. They're joking, celebrating, replaying the battle's highlights. You're quieter, thinking about the responsibilities of command, the weight of decisions that affect others. This is what leadership means. Not glory, but responsibility. Not celebration, but vigilance. You fed the gods with captures. Now you've proven you can lead warriors in combat. The sun sets behind the mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. Tomorrow, you'll return to Tenochtitlan as a proven commander. But tonight, you sit with your warriors, sharing water and dried maize and stories of the battle. This moment, this camaraderie, this shared survival is what matters most.